Other union leaders aren't so happy with the new trade deal and what Canada's done. One of them is Ken Neumann, the Canadian director of the United Steelworkers. We've reached him in Toronto. Mr. Neumann, thanks for your time today. It's good to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
How do you feel about this new trade deal and the fact that it doesn't do away with the tariffs on steel and aluminum?
Well, let me say it's not a good day for steel workers and across Canada or aluminum workers. Very disappointed that the Canadian government, who has led us to believe that we've got your back all along, that they would go ahead and sign an agreement with the tariffs of 25 and 10 still being there, when they've said all along that they're illegal. When President Trump initiated the tariffs on June the 1st, it was also very clear at that time that said that when we come to a NAFTA agreement, the tariffs are gone. And they've now come to a NAFTA agreement. President Trump tweeted out this morning how great it was that Canada is now back in the good books, so we've got this agreement. But yet, our workers across the country, tens of thousands, still have the 25 and 10, which this has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with national security. If you go back to the 232, the evidence is very clear. And you've got your best neighbor, your largest trading partner. It's beyond comprehension that we would see us going to the government of Canada signing on to an agreement that leaves the 25 and 10 on the steel and aluminum. And so there's many of our members across the country that are not happy about what has transpired here today.
Okay, what did you want the federal government to do instead? Did you want them, as these negotiations kicked into sort of high gear over the weekend, did you want them to, if they couldn't get the tariffs dropped, did you want them to walk away from the table?
Well, look at this, the line in the sand. Everybody's been talking about the line in the sand. You've got the government at one day saying that, look at, you've got the Chapter 19 was the line in the sand. We already got Chapter 19. You've got the U.S. that says the line in the sand was the dairy situation, that they needed to have something. The fact of the matter is that these are illegal tariffs. The Canadian government has said that all along, and why they've agreed to that. Now, I know that President Trump uses his rhetoric to basically crank up his electorate because he's coming up to midterm elections. He continues to throw out these things that, look at, if you don't do it my way, I'm going to apply a 25% tariff on autos. And there's no doubt that that scared the Canadian government, and they then just started negotiating concessions. And that's what's happened. And we got caught in this particular situation because they were threatened by President Trump that we're going to have tariffs on auto. And the fact is that stand up for what is right. I can tell you that the Prime Minister toured all of our facilities in aluminum and steel and has told us all along that we've got your back. And that to come along and say that, look, we've signed this agreement with unfair tariffs, or the illegal tariffs that are before us, is not having my back. And I can just say that our union on both sides of the border, we've been on the same wavelength that there should be no tariffs or quotas. There's no reason for it. You can't have a better neighbor than Canada.
Okay, the Minister of Foreign Affairs says, look, she will use this momentum from this deal to carry on her efforts to get the United States and President Trump to lift those tariffs. So she seems to think that she can do this deal and then she'll work with the momentum now that the two sides have found to get rid of those tariffs. What's your response to that?
Well, if they had the momentum, why didn't they do it? I mean, it's quite obvious. The fact is that everybody's been on, when President Trump said that on June the 1st, if we get a NAFTA agreement, the tariffs will be gone. We now got the NAFTA agreement, the tariffs aren't gone. So I don't know what momentum. This is after the fact. I've bargained many collective agreements in my lifetime that when you've got almost every issue resolved except one, you know that that's always the difficult task. What's the lever? What's the lever for the government to say that what? We're now going to take you to the WTO, where they've been saying that all along. So that's just not the way to bargain. I think they just folded because they were concerned about their last threat, and there's been numerous threats, was on the 25% on autos, and the government just decided to sign on, which is wrong, and it's not having the backs of the many thousands and thousands of workers that we represent across the country.
What would the consequences have been of having a 25% tariff imposed on autos?
Well, first of all, do you know if he's going to do it? The question is look, we see a lot.
Well, that's a big risk to take, though, isn't it?
We have a lot. Well, there's always we have a lot of fodder that comes. The question is that look at when they imposed the tariffs on June the 1st. I mean, Canada. I mean, they should have imposed the tariffs immediately, the countervailing duties. They waited a month. The fact is that look at the June 1st announcement by the U.S. government. That's what started the trade war. And President Trump has just continued to ratchet up the rhetoric. And the fact is that we've not had our back looked after when it comes to the steel and aluminum, where there's a commitment that's been made. Even the President Trump had said that they're going to be gone once we get a trade deal, and that's not there.
Okay.
No one knows what President Trump's going to do tomorrow, never mind what happened over these last several weeks.
All right, Ken Neumann, thanks for your perspective this evening, and we'll talk again.
Thank you.